The Golden Rules of Listening. Section 2. You will hear a short radio talk on the skill of listening.
Now, listening is a far more sophisticated skill than most people realise. And poor listening is a very common cause of breakdowns in communication. So you need to be aware of a few rules. The first golden rule of listening is to stop talking, because you can't listen carefully if you keep interrupting. This is especially important when the situation is familiar, when you're talking to a relative or friend, say. In situations like that, it's all too easy to assume you know what the person means and start working out your reply instead of paying attention to what they're really saying. Next, try to relax. Research has shown that it's much more difficult to listen effectively if you're feeling at all tense and anxious. So if you've been dealing with a tricky problem at work, for example, and you feel the tension building up, take a deep breath before you answer the telephone. Let your brain adjust first. You also need to make the speaker feel relaxed. And the way to do that is to show them they have your full attention. Try to look interested in what they're saying. Don't look over their shoulder or start scribbling on a piece of paper. Of course, there may be reasons why you want to make notes. In this case, tell the speaker in advance and explain the reason. Say the notes are to help you remember exactly what they said. Blame your poor memory if you like. This is important because we often use facial expression to tell us how the conversation is going. Next, be aware of any prejudices you have, personal, political, whatever, and make a conscious effort not to let these views affect your judgment. You may not see things in exactly the same way as the other person, but that shouldn't stop you from trying to understand their point of view. It's important to realise that listening is an active process. To listen effectively, you need to use not only reason, but also feeling. That means trying to identify with the other person and putting yourself in their position. After all, the point of listening is to understand the other person's point of view, not to win an argument. If you can empathise with the speaker, you're much less likely to jump to the wrong conclusion. And one final point. Remember to listen for what the speaker is not saying. That sounds strange, I know, but very often what's missing from a conversation is at least as important as what's there. Now, to discuss some of these points, I've got with me in the studio Brian Morgan, who's a psychologist, and Tessa Wade, who works as a marriage guidance counselor.